Hello, and welcome to this Mega Joy presentation of the Trinity Model. This is the 7th in our 10-part series, which do a really good job of summarizing with clarity the tenets of the Trinity Model in very understandable, user-friendly terms, so that you can take this with you as you go through life's journey, and it'll make it much, much better. In 35 years of teaching, these were the 3 tenets for my classroom, classroom management, instructional model. We were all equals in the classroom in terms of people. And so I got away from the power struggles. And this model, if you pay attention, can help you with that same. These concepts they're knowable, they're learnable, and they're teachable. And the good news is they can be learned in less than an hour and utilized for the rest of your life. So last time we talked about communication, which had the 2 parts. It had the part dealing with truth, knowledge, those kinds of things up in the noggin. And then it came down into the natural law, into the world of reality. So how you actually use information in the real world, get information back, process it, so on and so on. 2 critical things in your noggin. You listen, both ears, you articulate truth, right, to the best of your knowledge. And then you take the feedback and the cycle continues. Now, the second of the 3 basic terms is compassion. And so just as in communication, it was how we dealt with truth and power, okay? And so compassion is how we deal with trust and authority. And so this is actually one of the more useful things in terms of interpersonal relations. But what you'll find, though, is that because these loops are, you can get into a loop, and you can see the whole world through your particular loop. And so men tend to be left-brained. So your auto mechanic is going to be concerned about how to fix your car, and he'll do that. He'll be really good at it, and he's going to stay in this loop. Okay, but women tend to be right-brained, and so they're more concerned with the compassion, with the relationships, and those kinds of issues. And all the times these 2 people can talk past each other. And if you're not aware of that, you can inadvertently get caught up in one of your loops. And so the way I'm talking about communication today, or I'm talking about compassion, but the way I talked about communication was kind of a repeating loop. And the same thing's going to happen here in compassion, is we're going to get into a loop, because compassion is how we deal with these 2 laws. How we deal with the law that deals with trust inside of our heart, and also how we deal with the law dealing with relationship, which of course is outside of us. Okay? And then when we get into cooperation, we will see that really you need to find a way to bring these 2, communication and compassion, together in order to be a fully actualized person. And again, it's not some pie-in-the-sky thing. It's just a way of walking through life that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now let's get to it. Rejection. Okay, now these are the storms. Okay, rejection. And I would tell kids in my class, well, first of all, I'd make the statement that, I believe that most pain and most pleasure in life comes through relationship with other people. And I would ask the kids, and in 35 years of teaching, no one disputed that claim. Okay? And that's why I believe that the fear of rejection is the #1 fear that people have to grapple with. Okay? So the storm in life internally, in your heart, is being rejected. Okay? You can reject yourself too. It's an emotional thing. All right? Just like up here, it's an intellectual thing. Down here, it's an emotional thing. And so rejection is what can take place in your heart. Okay? So these things up here are what you do, and these things down here are where you live. Okay? This is who you are. Okay? So rejection is what happens inside of you internally, that causes a great deal of pain in terms of the storm. Now, when you get outside of you into relationship, betrayal, which is outside of you. Now, of course, we can, that's a whole spectrum of betrayal. And a lot of it, of course, could just be perceived betrayal. But we can't get into all of that today. But again, betrayal would be something that happens outside of you that you internalize internally. So these are the two storms that can happen in relationships. Now, just as we clarified up here in communication, so compassion is dealing with the subjective and relationships, okay? Whereas communication was dealing with the objective and power, okay? Reality, what you can do. All right, and so these are the subjective moments in time. This, again, is where you live. This is who you are, all right? And now we will come over to, whereas in communication we were process-oriented and reasonable, okay, this is the critical part of you, is your will and your spirit, okay? Your heart is your decision maker. Your heart is the CEO, and your heart is going to make the decisions. And that is your willpower, free will, if you will. But this also is your spirit. This is where you live. This is your life force. Your life force is in your heart, okay? Your intellect, your understanding is one part of your soul. And this is the critical thing, is that there are two economies. There are two parts to the human soul. There is the intellectual part, and there is the emotional part, the spirit part. And we're talking past each other most of the time. Very few people understand these two concepts are in play all the time. And so you're going to have a leg up on living a peaceful life if you simply garner the idea there are two different parts of me. There's my intellectual part, and there's my emotional part. And there's the way my intellectual part plays out, and there's the way my emotional part plays out. And that basic understanding gives you a framework, gives you a starting place for navigating peacefully through this journey we call life. Okay? So again, I cannot underestimate the importance of the spirit and the free will. Now, what to do about it? Okay. This is, in my opinion, okay, so I have a professional opinion, and I also have personal opinions, okay? And my professional opinion and my personal opinion is personal responsibility is the number one factor in success in all arenas in life. Personal responsibility, okay? So you take part of understanding what is your responsibility. And so that's, again, inside of you. Okay, so personal responsibility means that means responsibility for your body. It means responsibility for your mind. It also means responsibility for you as a person. And so then when we get down into the environment, into the relationship aspect, this would be mercy down here. Okay? As what we want from the environment, what we want from other people is mercy. Be merciful to me. I make mistakes. Be merciful to me. That's what we want from the environment. Now, what does the environment, what do other people want from us? They want personal responsibility. So personal responsibility is what you need to bring into the environment. Okay? And certainly mercy is what you want to receive from the environment. And we're all made the same way in that. And keep in mind, there are the three things that have to do with personal responsibility. You are personally responsible for your head, your intellect. You are personally responsible for your heart, who you are. And you're personally responsible for your body and what you do. there are those three parts. Now, a lot of times people just rely on mercy, okay? And that's how they go through life. And those are slothful people, and it's easy to get into that. And we have a lot of altruistic people who just give mercy and mercy and mercy and mercy, and there's nothing, well, yeah, you can appreciate their heart, but in fact they're disabling this other individual from taking their own personal responsibility. Now, I would like to make one more clarification here, because I think these kinds of things help us tweak our understanding a little bit. So when I was up here talking in communication about listening and articulation, especially articulation, that's what you're bringing into the environment. And when it's communication, you want it to be as truthful as you know. And of course, willing to revisit your conclusions. Okay, but you want to articulate from your head in the most truthful manner you can. Now, that's a separate issue from honesty. Honesty is a result of who you are. Okay, you can be truthful, but you can be intentionally omitting useful information, which means you're being truthful, but you are not being honest. And that's why when in the old days, when they would ask you to swear on the Bible, to give the whole truth, okay, nothing but the truth, okay? And so there is a distinction to be made between truthful, which relates to communication, and honest, which relates to trustworthiness and trust and those kinds of things. So as always, I very much appreciate your time.